Hey y'all, welcome to the Clock Tower. I'm Colton. Today we're doing one more Fate deck. I asked in one of the previous Fate videos if people wanted to see what I thought the best Fate deck in the meta was, and enough people said yes that I decided to make a video about it. Long term, Fate doesn't have a lot of meta relevance anymore. Its primary build in recent years has been effectively countered by the stuff that's at the top of the current meta, but there's still some stuff that you can do with Fate, by and large, especially in the new Heaven's Feel 2 stuff, so we're going to talk about that today. The object of the deck is the level 3 combo that has the Icy Tail Burn and also plays a defensive event at the top that can basically force a 2-turn endgame and actually give us an opportunity to close. Competitively, this is mid-tier. It's fine. If you took it to Springfest, I don't think you'd top, but I think that you would compete more likely than not. It just has some really bad matchups that are just really hard to play around. It's not the most expensive deck. It has a couple of really expensive cards in it from previous Fate sets. The Heaven's Feel 2 stuff was widely purchased, is pretty cheap, but there are some expensive cards that you're going to need to run this deck at its full capacity. The deck wins starting with its decent level 1 combo. We run the Ilya Pants combo. It pluses, it runs the Pants, which is really nice. And blue's a decent color to run just because it has access to some tech pieces at level 1 and level 2 that are useful. The endgame is the Sakura Icy Tail Burn combo. Pretty straightforward combo. As long as we have the climax in play, we shouldn't have any trouble getting our stock for that combo. So at level 0, we're trying to burn through our deck as quickly as possible. We've got a lot of stuff that top checks, a lot of stuff that helps us mill. Getting through our deck before we get to level 2 is so important for the compression in this deck. If we don't, we're honestly kind of screwed. We've talked about almost all of these cards before in different Fate profiles, so I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on them. Resolution to Fight Together Shiro. It's the Clock Encore staple in just about every Fate deck going back the last several years. We keep this in our back row to keep stuff alive, help us loop our level 1 combo potentially, and potentially clock ourselves into level 1. Ruthless King of Night Saber Altar. It's a drop searcher. It gets up to 3/5 when we have 2 or fewer cards in our stock. It is an early game beater that can also go and get our level 1 combo, our level 3 combo, basically whatever piece we need. Drop searchers are generally at least useful, but the fact that it's on an oversize gives it a little bit more utility, especially at the very beginning of the game, justifies it as a 2-of. The Ilya Azasa that got a reprint on play, pitch 1, top check 4, add a master. We know what this does. In any master-centric list, this is an auto-include and a 4-of. The reprint makes it easier to get a hold of. It gets our level 1 combo, gets our level 3 combo, gets a lot of key pieces for us, while also milling through our deck super fast. One of the new cards, Warcry Berserker, on play, reveal the top card. If it's a master, servant, or event, we can add it and pitch 1, and it also has a pitch 1 bond to the level 1 combo. This is really useful because we do play events in this deck. It gets masters and servants, and it also corresponds to the Ilya. So it's a double filter that gets another card out of our deck early in the game, gets our level 1 combo together. Battle in the Rain. I still like this card. Pay 1, rest 2, usually resting the Shiro Encore along with this. Top check 4, add a level 1 or higher card. This can include the level 1 Illusion Magic event or the level 3 defensive event that we run. Also, we can pay 1, pitch an event to go get a character from our waiting room. So this is deck speed, this is event plussing, this is emergency salvage. It fills a lot of roles pretty nicely, better than I think a Brainstormer would in this slot. This is a card I did not like for the longest time, but the more I played it, the more it grew on me. Top Mage Caster from the new set. On attack, choose a master or servant. That character gets plus X, X equal to the number of master or servants you have times 500, and when it gets reversed, reveal the top card. If it's a level 0 or lower, put it into hand. Defensively, gives us about a 1/3 chance of top checking a 0 into our hand, so it's potentially replacing itself in our hand, which is cool. But even more importantly, on attack, this gives 2,000 power to something else. This is our fighting chance against standby decks, which all get way bigger than we do at level 1. Our level 1 combo usually tops out at about 6/5. This can push us up to 8/5, help us get over, give us at least a fighting chance to deal with level 1 boards. It's also a master, which means we can plus it off the Ilya. Finally, one more caster, which is also a master. It's Rule Breaker. We play it as a 1-of because it has on-play Blink. Neg's power from Data Live gets rid of Neg's Soul if there's no hexproof. This isn't useful in every matchup, but it's useful in enough matchups that it justifies its inclusion as a 1-of. Level 1's all about the combo. Dress of Heaven Ilya on Pants. If we have 2 or more other Master or Servant characters, it sits at 5/5, 6/5 with the Climax. On attack with Pants in the Climax zone. If we have 5 or fewer cards in stock, look it up to 4, add 1 Master or Servant. This mills us through our deck. This pluses us. It sits just big enough so that it will usually get the reverse on anything that isn't a standby level 1. Most level 1 combos don't sit bigger than 6/5 on defense if they're not standby. Ideally, we're getting to level 1 first, so this just easily steps over whatever we're facing, but it has enough power to get over an opponent's level 1 combo. Standby targets are where it's going to struggle a bit. That's why we run the caster at 0 to help push this up a little bit. As long as we didn't get super far behind and stuck at 0, this should be able to get reverses at 1, and it's on the pants trigger. This is the best level 1 combo that Fate has to offer, which is not fantastic. It's not a great combo, but it's fine. It progresses us game state-wise enough so that it's playable, and it's on the trigger that we need the most. Gonna be honest, I go back and forth on this card. Simple question, Ilya from the new set. On play, pitch 1, reveal a top card, and choose a level X or lower character in waiting room, return it to hand, X equal to the value of the card revealed off the top. This is potentially really useful because it guarantees us things like our Shiro Encore. It can guarantee us our Berserker Bonder so that we can go get our level 1 combo. It can get us the Reen. Like, it has a lot of utility for us, can go get us our Power Pump Caster. It sits at 3/5, which is just really small for a level 1. I'm debating replacing this. On paper, its utility looks great. In practice, I haven't found it to be as good as I had hoped. But for now, I think it's the best level 1 blue choice that we have. Unfortunately, we just don't have great options for level 1 blue cards. This is where we're at right now, but I could definitely see this being replaced by something else. Last level 1 card is the Illusion Magic Event. Very straightforward. It refreshes everyone's deck. This gets us out of bad deck states. This can potentially stick our opponent in a bad deck state, especially if, they just triggered a couple of times. We have the opportunity to refresh their deck without those. This can help hit our opponent hard and stick damage in the midgame. Level 2 has some varied tech pieces, including, honestly, one of the most powerful cards in English Weiss, Heroic Green and Archer. This shows up in almost every Fate list. On play, if we have 5 or fewer cards in deck, free refresh, draw 1. It's a pay 1, decent sized body that refreshes our deck and pluses us 1. Really great plussing on this, and it's also super easy to get to this deck state because of all the mill that we have. It's not necessarily a target card. It's not something that we're necessarily trying to get down every game, but it is really solid for its cost, and there are a lot of situations in which it is really useful. We play 2 copies of one of 3 great families, Ilya's Feel, 2,000 power assist to all level 3 or higher characters in front of it, and it's also a pay 1 climax swap on play, so it's really a pay 2 climax swap, but it has a power pump. This helps our early plays get over, this helps our level 3 stuff stay on board. It's a back row power pump that has a climax swap on it. It's very straightforward, pretty solid utility for us. And then last card at level 2 is the Ilya promo. It's a 3/5 counter punch if we have a Master or Servant on board, which we always will. This keeps our early plays alive, basically can save almost anything in most scenarios. Finally, at level 3, we're trying to set up our defensive event and get our Sakura burn combo to go off. First off, we have the early play Reen, Resolution to Fight from the new set. Its early play condition is having 2 or fewer climaxes in waiting room, which we can usually get to because we have the deck speed. On play Heal, which is great, and also we can resonate the defensive event to give this an additional 3,000 power to the end of our opponent's turn. So it sits at 11/5, cross turn, really nice size for an early play, and it will satisfy the having a Reen on board condition that the Zelrich defensive event needs in order to go off. I like the way this pairs with the Sakura at the top. I think it makes a lot of sense. I really like the way that this plays. There's another early play option that we will talk about, but this lets us play defense at the top end, which this set really needs because we are really looking at a 2-turn endgame. The level 3 Sakura combo on salvage, on play, draw 2, ditch 1 helps us stake for our climax. On attack, if salvage is in our climax area, blind stock the top 3 cards of our deck, and then it has an on attack, pay 3, pitch 1 6-card Icy Tail. Move the bottom 6 cards of our opponent's deck into their waiting room, deal X equal to the number of climaxes in those 6 cards. I like this combo because it pays for itself. Once you have this down, when you put the climax down, you know you have the resources because you've plussed a card off of its initial play, and you have the stock from the climax combo. It's almost there in terms of damage. It's really, really close. If you filled your board with this, you'd be looking at 3/3/3 with 3 Icy Tails, which is going to be enough in a lot of games, but not every game. It's not going to consistently hit that 7 damage threshold you really want your level 3 combo to hit. Thus, we play Jeweled Sword Zelrich. It's the 3-1 defensive event. If we don't have a Jewel character, which is Reen, this card can't be played, which is why it's so important that we get the early play Reen down. And we also have the back row Reen that we can keep on board if we can't keep the early play down. When we play this, we put it immediately into our memory. We choose one of our opponent's characters. That character gets plus X soul until end of turn, X equal to the number of these events in memory. This prevents vanilla swings from sticking as long as we don't have terrible compression, which, again, because we have the deck speed, we should never be in a position where we're going to eat 7. This forces end of game swings to be too high. If you're at 3-5 and your opponent's swinging for 2, now they're swinging for 6. Or 10, or 14, depending on how many of these you have in hand. Having to hold these in hand doesn't feel great, but they will extend the game by a full turn if used well. This lets us run back our Sakura combo if we need to. Usually we can get another instance of Sakura at least, because we can keep her alive with the Shiro, and if we have any stock left over, we have enough stock, if we use Sakura as the 3rd attacker, to use the Icy Tail one more time. Obviously, it doesn't prevent burn damage, but as long as we are decently compressed, this gives us that extra cancel or 2 that we need to stay alive for one more swing. The strongest thing about this deck is the top end. It has good offense and good defense, something you just don't see as often. We can close from 3-0, but if we don't, the Zelrich event can keep us alive. It gives us a second chance to finish the game. It has great deck speed, moves quickly through the deck. That usually helps us with our compression. Our compression is usually at least decent. And we have enough fixing tools to make sure that we have our endgame together more often than not. The main challenge with this deck is that it's small. It is small at every level. It will lose a lot of board. It struggles against standby, especially Dal, because it just doesn't get reverses. That makes it really hard to stick that damage against a deck like Dal that basically has unreversed compression. The level 3 game is a little bit intensive. It requires a lot of cards in hand. You want to be holding this 3-1 event basically as soon as you get it, starting in the mid game, because you want to have 2 copies by the time you get to the end game, and that can really affect the way that you sculpt your hand. And the fact that it only runs a single plussing level 1 combo doesn't help with that. If we had a double plussing level 1 combo, we would be running that. No questions asked. We would love to have a full hand as often as possible. We don't usually get to, which means we have to make some decisions about what we hold in our hand and how we sculpt for the end game. Level 1 board hopefully looks like this. We want to triple combo because, again, we need as many pluses as we can get. We usually want to have the Reen and the Shiro in the back row. The Reen gives us access to events, and it could potentially plus us our level 1 combo. And, of course, the Shiro can keep this level 1 combo alive. Pretty synergistic level 1 game, pretty consistent plussing. And then finally, at level 3, usually we want to have a Reen down as well as 2 of the Sakura combo. We could potentially push 3 Sakuras if we feel like we can close, but it's important that we have a Reen on board so we can play the defensive event. If we have the early play Reen down, we want to have the Shiro and the Elia in the back row because the Elia gives us that power pump. If we don't have the front row Reen, we will have the back row Reen, like we had at the level 1 combo, on board so that we have access to the defensive event. There are lots of cards in Fate, and that of course means that there are plenty of other options when running this. There are a few that I think are more interesting than others. We have the new Rider Ricky that's good, and when damage dealt by this card is canceled, you can put it into stock. So it potentially pays back the stock from its own Ricky effect, which is really cool. But in a deck that already has so much clocking with the Shiro Clock Encore, running this as well can feel like we're speeding ourselves through levels too quickly. So as much as this is a really good card, one of the best cards in the new set, it doesn't fit synergistically very well with the rest of what's going on in this deck. This Shiro and Rider is really interesting. I've seen this show up in a lot of lists. On Climax Play, choose a character, give it 1,000. And we can also rest this card to choose one of our opponent's characters and give it negative 1,000 power until end of turn. This kind of thing can help us get over standby. It's interesting, but it belongs in the back row, which means that it really takes the place of the Reen, which is something that we need to plus our defensive event. This isn't quite enough power for us to reach the level 1 threshold that we need to, and it's a hard thing to fit into the deck, given how tight our margins already are. The Saber Brainstormer. It shows up in a lot of Fate lists, and I don't like it. I wish I liked it, but I don't. On Climax Play, choose up to 2 of your characters and each of them get 500 power. You can't stack that power, so you're only giving 500 power to things, which is definitely not enough power pump for us to deal with standby boards. It's cool that there's a Master and Servant Brainstormer, but brainstorming as an effect isn't that good, and I think the Reen offers us more utility because it can plus us events. As much as it doesn't give power pump, I don't think this card gives us enough power pump for us to justify its inclusion. It's really close. If this gave a little bit more power, I could see it, but as is, the Brainstorm profile is honestly just not as consistent as it needs to be in the modern meta. I think the Reen makes more sense in this spot. And then finally, we have the early play stock heal Elia. If this card's early play condition was anything other than having a specific 0 in clock, I would like it a lot more. It sits at 11, it's a stock healer, it's great, but its early play condition requires that we play more copies of a 0 that just doesn't give us enough to justify its inclusion otherwise. If we have to play one or the other, I'd rather play the one that gives us access to the defensive top end rather than the stock heal, which is better. Stock heal is better than just a regular heal, but it requires us to run 3 or 4 copies of this other 0 that just doesn't do enough for us. And finally, this is the list. There are a couple of more expensive cards here, the Drop Searcher and the Shiro Encore. They're not easy to get. If you can get them, or if you have them, you're probably in a good spot to be able to build this because the rest of the deck is generally pretty inexpensive. Like I said, this is honestly not meta. I don't expect this or any other Fate list to top, but I think this is the best chance Fate has, because unlike 8-bar, its top end isn't hard countered by stuff that's at the top of the meta, and its level 1 combo doesn't require a reverse. It's a close but no cigar situation for Fate now, and given that we're probably not going to get more Fate sets that can be played with the FS stuff, this is probably the best that Fate's ever going to be, which is honestly a shame because it's been such a powerful and important set in the meta for so long. It's a shame that Heaven's Feel 2 just didn't have the kind of power that it needed to keep Fate relevant. But this is the list. It's fun to play. I've enjoyed it. It's generally pretty consistent, and it's, like I said, capable of winning games. You can win at locals with this. This isn't necessarily a bad thing to bring to Rumble, but it's not going to hit the power thresholds or the potential of some of the other sets that are currently at the top of the meta. And that's it. Thank you so much for joining me for what's probably the last Fate profile I'm ever going to do, unless, by some miracle we get more Fate stuff. But as it is, that's where we're at. Thank you for joining me. We'll be back on Thursday, gameplay featuring this deck. Next Tuesday, we will have a clock talk, and 5 cards, 5 minutes the following Thursday. Until next time, please like, share, comment, and subscribe, and have a good one.